Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is How to Make a Travel Blog by To the Nations Worldwide, and I'm your host, Mike Pletz, back with you for how to create a travel blog step by step from scratch. Join us every weekday for the next week at 1 p.m. Eastern as we go through each step on our Facebook page. Be sure to like our Facebook page for more on travel, blogs, photography, and so much more. You can click the link in the description to follow along to this lesson and to get every lesson in this series on how to make a travel blog. Or go to www.tothenationsworldwide.com, go to the e-learning tab, and click how to make a travel blog from scratch. From there, you're going to want to go to Unit 3, Writing a Post, Lesson 1, Writing Content. In the previous episode, we talked about setting up your travel blog, getting started with WordPress, choosing your theme, customizing settings, and getting your plugins installed. But today's episode, we're going into writing your content and getting your site ready for blog posts. We're going to talk about what you should write about. We're going to talk about writing a post, getting engagement, and considering SEO. Now, today's post is about writing a post, but we're not going to get into the fundamentals too much about writing, as we are going to get into about planning what you should write and before you start publishing your content. Now, writing content, you're going to want to start with jotting down your ideas. Now, back in one of our first lessons, we talked about choosing your niche, choosing an audience that you're going to serve, and jotting down topics, ideas that you're going to be writing about. So this is the time now to get that idea list out and start considering what pieces of content can you write about and that you're interested in writing about. You're going to want to write about content that is helpful to your reader. You're not going to just want to talk about your trip point for point, because unless you're a well-known personality, readers are not going to be captivated by your trip. You want to try to offer as much value from your trips as possible. If you are covering a niche on couples travel and you went to a resort that was for couples, you're going to want to talk about maybe a review of that resort, or how to get to that resort, or finding the best deals for that resort. Things that are helpful in that sense. Maybe not just talking exactly about what you did from hour to hour, because that may not be too interesting for readers when you're first starting out. So write details about the different places that you went, different excursions that you went on, and why they were interesting and why your reader should do the same. So this is just getting you started with choosing your niche, writing about different topics within your niche, and adding value to those topics for each of your readers or listeners. Now you're going to want to start writing. Once you have your ideas jotted down, whether it's about landmarks, experiences, attractions, cities, things that you've done at each destination, or even unique stories about each destination, now you're going to want to start writing about each of those things that you jotted down. So I wrote here that you may want to have 30 ideas before you start getting into publishing each of these posts. This is because sometimes life can get a bit hectic and you may go a month without writing anything. Well, at least those 30 ideas will give you some sort of something to lean on when you're not in the zone to write content, so that you can have them and you can publish them in the future and not have to worry about writing that next post before you run out of posts, because you want to keep your blog consistent. You want to schedule posts on a consistent basis. So how often should you publish? Some people say publish every day. Just get something out there. I disagree with that. I think this can be tiring, especially if you're starting your blog for the first time. You're just starting to publish content. You'll get tired really quickly. You may run into a lack of ideas and feel pressure in that sense, and then your blog will not become enjoyable anymore for you. And if it's not enjoyable for you, it won't be enjoyable for your readers. So first, make it enjoyable for yourself. The good thing about publishing every day would be that you're getting content out there every day. Your website, your blog is staying fresh. It's keeping readers interacting with your website and coming back for more. I like the 1 or 2 times a week idea. It keeps your post, you can then promote it for the remainder of the week. It keeps that post fresh and on your featured content part of your website. So 1 or 2 times a week. I stay mostly to the more of 1 time a week, just to keep that that post fresh and to promote it as much as I can during that week to get as many people onto that page for that week. So get a bank of 30 ideas and start writing. You're going to want them to be at least 700 words long per post. This is for quality and SEO purposes. If you're posting content that's 300 words, maybe it just doesn't have enough value to it. What search engines look for is really long posts. In fact, even up to 1,000 words and more seems to be valued by these search engines, and you will rank higher for having more words in your blog posts. So this is a part of SEO, or search engine optimization, getting your blog posts to rank in Google searches. We're going to get back to this SEO. It's a really big topic. We're going to get to it in a couple of sessions, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it later on in this session. So I want you to take those 30 ideas and I want you to write a purpose for each of those 30 ideas. What is the purpose that you are writing that for? What do you want your audience members to take away from that article? Then I want you to research, or in your case, travel, or maybe you've already traveled and you've already got your research, and maybe you just need to go online and get a little bit more research, like opening times or cost, things like this, but never copy from somebody else on the internet. It's very easy to know whether or not you have been copying. So I want you to get started here with writing a post. You're going to go to Posts and to Add New. Remember that I am going through this in WordPress for you. You can apply this to other CMS software, but in this case, we're going through WordPress. So Add New. I always use the text tab, not the visual tab. You're going to want to choose one and stick with it. I like the text. It requires a minimal HTML knowledge, but I feel it's better for customizing your posts and keeping those headers. And it's just what I feel comfortable with. But choose the one that you feel comfortable with and stick with it. When beginning my writing, I start with my first paragraph, my introduction, with a clear purpose. That purpose that I told you to write about, I want you to jot that down for your first paragraph, because that's what you want the reader to get out of the post. Readers these days have a short attention span. They'll go to your website, they'll read that first paragraph. They want to know exactly what they're going to get out of that post from that first paragraph. So make sure you make a very clear purpose, what the reader is going to get out of that post, and continue writing from there. They need to know why they're reading and why they should continue to read. From there, you're going to write the body paragraphs. This is where the value lives. Now, for each paragraph, I don't like it to be too lengthy. 4 to 6 sentences is long enough. Include headings to separate the different paragraphs. The headings can be keyword-rich terms that you can use to rank in search engines. So if your keyword is traveling with my significant other to blank, maybe you would include that in the title and one of the headers and throughout your writing. Now, you don't want to jam them in wherever and hope to rank on search engines that way. It needs to be natural. It needs to be organic in order to be ranked by search engines. Now, I see this often where travel bloggers will just jam in tons of pictures into their website. I would say to avoid adding too many photos to your blog post. I see lots of travel bloggers just jam in there. It gets too crowded. It gets too annoying, and you can't follow along with reading, especially when you're on a mobile device. But not only that, it also slows down your website. So if you really have these photos that you want to include, choose them very carefully. And all the other ones that you don't post, put them on Instagram. And that's a good way to get more engagement out of those photos. But don't just jam them in there wherever you feel like throwing them in, because it will slow down your website, and it will be a distraction from your writing. So from your body, where it has all the value, everything that you're going to talk about, you're going to go to the conclusion and sum everything up. Remind the reader what kind of information they got out of your post, because if they skip past the introduction and they breezed through your body, they're going to go to the conclusion. It's going to be the last place they look to see why they should have read your content. And finally, you're going to include a call to action in your conclusion. Now, a call to action can be something as simple as asking your readers a question. Or telling them to subscribe to your email list, or whatever it is that you want them to do next now that they've read the blog post. Maybe you link to another blog post that you talked about on this similar topic, or maybe you want them to comment in the comment section below. All of this leads to my next topic, which is engagement. You're going to want your readers to engage with you on your blog post. Engagement can be anything like comments, interaction with you through social media, or even in the comment section of your blog post. It's creating a discussion, and the best way to get engagement is to ask for it. Ask your readers for that engagement, and the best place to do that is in the conclusion, or maybe even sometimes in the introduction. Ask them a question based on your blog post. Sometimes a simple answer gets the most engagement, but that's where you're going to ask for that engagement. Another way to get engagement is to create a blog post on a controversial topic. Be careful with this, though, because you don't want your blog to come off as negative, unless that's the audience you're trying to reach, but you don't want your blog to harvest a negative outlook on things, and because then all your readers coming in are going to be negative as well. So ask questions to your audience, create a controversial topic that gets people active in a discussion in your comment section, and this is going to be helpful for gaining readers and for search engine optimization purposes. And finally, considering search engine optimization. Now, we're going to touch on this very lightly, and in another session, we're going to dive deep into it. But for now, I'm going to just talk about creating a post around a keyword. So we talked about getting 30 ideas and topics and writing about those 30 ideas and topics. But you're also going to want to do keyword research for each of these ideas and topics. Now, a keyword is something that somebody would type into a search engine in hopes of finding a blog post like yours. So if I take a keyword like travel as an example, if I made a blog post about travel in general, I probably would not be ranked high in the search engines. It's because travel is such a competitive space that if you type travel into Google right now, it's going to be dominated by some pretty heavy players, and you're not going to rank against them. So you're trying to find a long keyword that you think you can rank for, and the best way to do that is to start with one of your topics and then type something into Google that you think somebody would try to search for to find your blog post. From there, you can see who ranks for that for that keyword, you can go down to the bottom of Google and you can see the suggested keywords or the suggested searches in that search engine. Those could give you some more ideas. Another idea is to click this keyword suggestion tool. This is keywordtool.io, and you can type in your blog topic and it can give you several different keyword suggestions that you could use. But the biggest one, and this is what I want everyone to take from this, is create a Google AdWords account. Now, Google AdWords is Google's ad platform that you can pay for to get traffic, but it's free to join. It's free to create an account. You don't need to create an ad, and there's some powerful tools available to you in this. The biggest one would be their keyword research tool, which allows you to type in any keyword, search it, and it'll tell you how many times that gets searched for every month. So it can tell you the popularity of that search phrase or keyword, and it can tell you how many people are searching for it every month and the competitiveness of that keyword. So combining these strategies to choose a keyword that is going to bring people to your blog post is the best way to optimize your title of your blog post for search engines. Now, I just say title because we're going to get into the whole blog post and your website as a whole of SEO when we get further into SEO. But for this particular post, this session that we're talking about, writing content, we're just going to focus on getting that right keyword for your title and including that keyword in your title. It should be closer to the front of your title. It should definitely be in your title, though. So that's choosing your keyword. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. This is all for this session of making a WordPress travel blog. Be sure to ask any questions you have in the comment section in here. Like our Facebook page for more on travel, photography, travel blogs, everything related to travel. And click the link in the description to follow along to today's tutorial and to continue on by yourself if you want to on how to create a travel blog. Thank you, everyone, and happy travels.